Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Happy Wednesday to all of you, and I hope that you're having a great last week of 2022. Yes, this time next week we will be into 2023 and we will be facing all of the challenges that 2023 will bring with it. I truly do hope that those of you that were watching a year ago or 9 or 10 months ago when I was saying get ready for this winter took the opportunity to do a little bit of your own research and understand that you did need to get ready for this winter. And guess what? Those people that did get ready for the winter, I've received several emails. Hey, we had a power outage and we were all prepped. Thank you for the videos, things like that. And those are awesome. So I know that some people are listening. However, we have to continue to put this message out. Why? Because it's important. Because every video that goes out, it may encourage one new person to prep. And that will make their lives a lot easier. But also lives of the people around them easier as well, because they won't be a drain on resources that can be then put forth to those people that did not prepare. Unfortunately, that is the fact. Most people will not prepare, and those people that are prepared will take away from the stress on the resources that are available for those people that didn't prepare. When normal people that don't prepare, when they get desperate, they do desperate things. They do things that they normally would not have done. Just take a look at all of the videos of all of the looting that's been going on in the last few days due to this Arctic blast that we received here in the lower 48, or down in the lower 48, because I'm above it. So here it says food shortages may get even worse in 2023, and here's why. And this is coming from a farmer. Now, if you're going to take any of this information seriously, maybe you should take it from someone that's been doing this for a living for their life. Someone that knows the intricacies of our food system, all the way from the seed to the table. Now, this is a short article, so I'm just going to try and read it verbatim because it's not long at all. If you were hoping the new year would make a renewed era of abundance for the U.S. food system, we have some bad news. The various food shortages that defined the past 12 months, like butter, baby formula, eggs, are not only expected to continue, but experts are also predicting that they could get even worse in 2023. CNBC reports an economic recession is likely to hit in the early months of the new year as inflation, environmental catastrophes, and ongoing fertilizer shortage continue to wreak havoc. We've been talking about all of those things for a while now. I hope that people have heeded the warnings, ladies and gentlemen. It is important that you do your own research, but make sure that you come to a conclusion. Do I need to prepare or not? And then make sure that you understand that it will be you and your family that will face the consequences of the decisions that you make. And here this farmer says, I believe that 2023 is going to be rough, worse than this year, says Tennessee dairy farmer and outspoken agricultural activist Stephanie Nash. And she recently told Fox News this, that we're going to have a supply chain shortage. We're going to have an increase in our food prices and the grocery store, she claimed. Now, does that sound like it's out of the realm of reality after the last couple of years that we've had, and looking forward to how things are going to evolve, like she says here in the economy? I believe that we are in a recession. All you have to do is look around. Remember that they say that a recession is when your neighbor loses their job, and a depression is when you lose your job. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that we are headed toward a depression. It may not happen tomorrow. It may not happen next month, but it will evolve into a depression, one which I feel will be a deflationary depression, which is really bad, because in a deflationary depression, sometimes there's enough food, but just not enough money. Take a look back in the Great Depression era, where farmers, they were spilling milk. Why? Because they weren't being offered enough money for the milk. And to them, that milk represented their labor. So in a deflationary depression, sometimes there's enough, but just not enough money to buy the stuff that you need. And here they cover something that I've been talking about for a while. That regulations set forth by government, be it local, state, or federal, that they are nothing but a tax on you, because it makes doing business a lot more expensive, a lot more restrictive, and it is you, the consumer, that ends up paying the price in the end. Nash, a frequent critic of farming regulations, added that inflation is not expected to end anytime soon. And she is 100% correct. Inflation will never end. It's just the rate at which it continues to rise. As Americans, we are really going to be hurting in their wallet. Due to the increase of food costs, the supply chain is struggling to keep up with demand. According to the USDA, the global fertilizer crisis, prompted by the invasion into the big U by the big R, has directly affected crop production for farmers. The government predicted that this situation will become more dire in 2023. And we've been talking about this for a while. Fertilizer is going to be a big issue. Why is that? It is the war on energy that will cause fertilizer to become more scarce and a lot more expensive, more so than what it has already in the last year, or in this year in 2022. And why is that? It's because for 2022, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of farmers, they already had their stockpile of fertilizer that they paid for at those lower prices. So they already had it to work with. Some farmers actually had to bite the bullet and pay the higher prices. But this year, they're going to be working with the much higher priced fertilizers if they can get their hands on it. Remember that fertilizer equals food. And without the use of fertilizer, just like they found out in Sri Lanka, your yields are going to go from whatever it is that you're doing, probably down 50%, if not more, without the use of fertilizer. And we have a lot of crops that the world depends on that's very fertilizer intensive. Now, what's going to happen? Are they going to bite the bullet and pay the extra price that fertilizer is selling for, or are they going to use less fertilizer and then have less yields? Either side of that equation equals higher food prices and more scarcity. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's just no way around it. On top of that, they're talking about recession, right? I think we're going to head into a depression here in the next year, maybe two at the most. But when there is an economic downturn, it means that there is less GDP, less gross domestic product. And that is pretty much what you earn. So the less that you earn, or the lesser purchasing power that you have, the less you're going to be able to purchase. People are going to be buying less food with more money, and that money represents their time and their labor, meaning it's going to take them more hours of work to buy the same amount of food that they did this year, even at this year's elevated prices. So make sure that you continue to prepare. You have a full pantry, buy things that are on sale, and only on sale if you already have a full pantry. Because I'm sure that you've realized by now, I should have copyrighted this saying, or this phrase that I have, but I'm sure you've realized by now that last year's regular prices are this year's sale prices for most things. They continue to say, unfortunately, increasing environmental disasters are also contributing to the food shortage in a major way, and that is 100% true. Nature does not care whether our economy is doing well or not. Fox Business explains that California's devastating drought has led to empty rice fields and a 10% loss of viable farmland. I do believe I remember reading an article for you all where it said that California is only expecting to harvest about 50% of the rice that it normally harvests. And I think is Alabama or Kansas. I'm not sure which one. But one of the states in the United States that actually grows the most rice in the United States actually did halfway decent. So that is great news. However, throughout the world, rice production is at a negative compared to last year. So what's going to happen is that those countries that produce less rice, that see themselves having to import rice instead of export, are going to be getting it from the system one way or another. Meaning what? I believe that rice prices next year in 2023 will almost double from what they are now. Unfortunately, I hope I'm 100% wrong, and if I am, I will celebrate that. But I believe that that will be the case next year. And to finish it off, they say that simply put, lost agricultural revenues from lost crops means less money and land to produce the foods we place on our dinner tables. Everything from the milk industry around to almonds has been affected. As if that wasn't enough doom and gloom for you, MASH predicts that bread, vegetable oil, corn, butter, tomatoes, champagne, champagne, flour, beef, and more will be harder to find on grocery store shelves in 2023. I hope that you're preparing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and cover our next news article really quick, and then I'll get to my 2 stories. I know you're all waiting for that story, all right? Because you like when I tell stories. Over 20 million face utility shutoffs after country plunged into once-in-a-lifetime freeze. So, ladies and gentlemen, 20 million in the United States have actually received utility shutoffs from the companies because they can't afford to pay the bills. So, do you have a backup? Do you have a plan on what you will do should you lose power? Should you lose the availability of being able to heat your homes? I understand that this is more of an economic reason as why they're losing power. However, you need to go and check out the Financial Prepper. He had a great video out yesterday. I'll try to remember to leave it pinned, okay? I think it's up here in the right hand corner of your video. I'll try to remember to leave it pinned, where he was going over all of the things that you can do in order to conserve, in order to not waste money. He was talking a lot about wants and needs, and these are the things that you really need to look into going forward into 2023, especially if you're on a fixed income. Yes, we are getting a great social, well, I'm not getting Social Security, but Social Security is going to increase by 8.7%. coming into 2023. That's great. However, I've already received emails, and I haven't talked about this, but I've received emails from community members that are on Social Security that say, yeah, we're getting this raise, but our Medicare is going up. So it's usually a zero-sum game, if not less. So yes, they're getting a raise this year in Social Security that is supposed to equal that of what was the inflation for the year. However, when they have to pay more for other stuff, it just takes it away, and they're still below water. Their heads are still below water, better said. So ladies and gentlemen, these are the things that you need to look at, and these are the things that you need to plan ahead for. Right? It's not instant gratification. We never prep in hopes that we have to use our preps. We always prep in hopes that we can just continue to use our preps as our everyday life, fill in the gaps when we can, and that we're always prepared. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what preparing is about. It's not hoping that bad things happen. It's hoping that bad things never happen, and that you will just live your life normally. And having a prepared pantry, a full pantry, is a great way of saving money. All right, I've talked about that a lot. Just live off your pantry, live your regular lives. Don't ever become obsessed with it like me. You know, you have a spare tire in the back of your car. You hope that you never have to change a flat tire. I do. I hope I never have to change a flat tire. But if I do, I have that spare tire. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let me go ahead and cover a couple of emails that I received. I don't have the emails. They're like one-liners, all right? One of them was like 2 lines. One of them was like pretty much 1 line. But the first email that I want to talk about was one of our community members emailed me and told me, hey, listen, I'm a police officer. So I remember I did a video about looting and stuff like that, and also about gas stations hiring private security. And I said that private security is going to be big business going forward, not only because of shortages, not only because of food crisis, because of the socioeconomic status that the United States is going to find itself in the next year, 2, 3, and that is already beginning, right? So this person, and I told people, I said on that video, I told people that, listen, you got to make sure that you can protect yourself, because police officers are not going to be there to help you. They may get to your home, or they may get to the place where you need the help, but they may get there too late. Because when a crime is occurring, it is occurring in the now. And making a phone call and getting a police or law enforcement officer over to your place is going to take time. So you have to find a way to reinforce your home, find a way to be able to protect yourself in case they do get in before help arrives. So a police officer sent me an email, and this person told me, hey, I've been a cop for X number of years. It was a she, for her entire career. And she said, you are 100% right. Police officers will not be there to help you. And she wasn't being facetious. She was being very kind and very straightforward. But she said, police officers will not be there to help you. With all of this stuff that's been going on for the last several years, where a lot of states, municipalities, whatever you want to call them, cities, have drawn down the budgets of police officers and their departments, she said, we are pretty much living on a shoestring. We have pretty much exactly what we need in order to get by, and not even enough. They're working a whole bunch of overtime because there's not enough police officers on the force. She acknowledged that they need more police officers, and the main thing that she said is Tell everyone that the police will not be there when you need them. And she was very blunt about that. So I appreciate you sending that email if you're watching this. Because I pretty much paraphrased what she said. She only wrote like a 2-liner, but I turned it into a book. But I just want to put it out there, ladies and gentlemen. This is from a police officer saying, hey, we are not going to be there to help you. So you have to be able to protect yourself and hold down the fort until we can get there. The next one is a very sad email that I received. And it was from a gentleman that says, hey, listen, you know, I've been watching for a while. I've been subscribed, but I just want to tell you. And he was very kind in his wording. This was not, you know, an email from someone that was angry, that was, you know, being mean and all that kind of stuff, right? But he was very kind in his wording. He pretty much says, hey, I've been subscribed for a while. I really appreciate everything you do. However, I just want to let you know that I'm unsubscribing because I've got preps for this. I've got preps for that. You know, he started going off like I've got a backup for electricity. I've got gas. I've got food. I only live on $1,000 a month income. And these are all of the things that I have for backups for in case something happens. But there's nothing more that I can do. There's nothing more that I can do with my income, and watching everyone, you know, on all of these YouTube videos show the things that they get because they have more wealth. And those were his words right there, because you have more wealth. It's not really good. This gentleman pretty much sounds like he's very well prepared, and he has a lot of experience in being prepared. You know, from what he told me, he has backups for electricity, for food. He's got precious metals. You know, he's got self-defense, all of these things. So this gentleman is obviously an experienced prepper. But what he mentioned on that email that kind of concerned, or it's what he did not mention. You know, he pretty much said, yeah, I don't have the wealth in order to do the things that you guys do with all the money that you have, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? I didn't take any, you know, I didn't take that as a negative. It is, he was being honest. But what I did not see in that email was, and it could be that he is very well doing what I'm about to say, right? It could be that he just didn't put it on there. But this gentleman just, the vibe of the email was kind of like, he was kind of like defeated. What was missing was, he didn't say anything about what he's doing for the community. If you have all of this prepping knowledge, why wouldn't you want to pay that knowledge forward to other people, right? And again, I'm not saying that this gentleman's not doing this. He just didn't mention that. So if you have all of this prepping knowledge, that's fine that you don't want to watch the videos. That's perfectly fine. But if for some reason you are watching, this is what I would say. If you have all that prepping knowledge, why don't you pay that knowledge? It doesn't cost you anything to pay that knowledge. Pay it forward to people that may need it. And that's why I really appreciate having so many experienced preppers in this community, because I don't know everything. I've been corrected dozens of times, but that's a great thing, because whenever I make a mistake, whenever I say something that's not right, I get called out and I learn something. Well, why don't you take your experience from prepping and pay it forward? And it doesn't have to be in the YouTube community, but it can be around your community, right? Why don't you start a YouTube channel? All right, because from what I understand, this gentleman is retired. Start a YouTube channel. It doesn't cost you anything except for the same internet connection that you use to send the email and that you use to watch videos. Start a YouTube channel and go ahead and share your knowledge. It's not a competition. You know, prepping, in my opinion, prepping channels on YouTube, to me, it's not a competition. You know, I've seen some prepping channels that rise up, and within 6 months to a year, they have twice as many, or 1.5 times as many community members than I have. That is taking me about 6.5 years to gain. I don't get jealous over that. I applaud that. Why? Because that person is reaching out to more people. Right? And although a lot of the community members kind of like intermingle between channels on YouTube, I am certain that a lot of channels, if not all channels, have people on them that are subscribed to their channels that probably have never even heard of the Alaska Prepper community. Right? So go ahead, if you think that you are ready, if you think that you are ready to let go of the community, of watching prepper channels and all that kind of stuff, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But why don't you take your knowledge and pay it forward? Because the more people within your community that are prepared, the better off that you will be. And the more people within your state that are prepared, the better off that your state will be. And then we can even take that to a national level. The more people in your country that are prepared to get through whatever, the better off that your country will be. So share your knowledge. If you're tired of the videos, if you're tired of hearing, hey, get food in 2023, it's going to get more expensive, just like we talked about in early 2022, go ahead and share your knowledge with other people. I know that I beat that horse to death. However, I just wanted to make sure, if for some reason this gentleman is watching, I wish he is, or for other people that feel the same way, share your knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. That is how we become better. Having said that, have a great day. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.